Paradise is surrounded by hardships, and hellfire is surrounded by desires. Prophet Muhammad, sallallahu, Sahih Muslim, 2822, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Self-control is one of the hardest battles you will ever fight. Whether it's resisting haram temptations, breaking free from addiction, or simply disciplining yourself to pray on time, it all comes down to one thing: willpower. But here's the good news. Islam already gives you the ultimate blueprint for mastering self-discipline. And modern psychology, it's only now discovering what the Qur'an and Sunnah taught 1400 years ago. 1. The root of self-control. Islam's view versus modern science. Self-control is about restraining yourself from short-term pleasures for long-term success. Islam teaches this through Taqwa, being conscious of Allah even when no one is watching. Science, on the other hand, explains self-control through willpower, which is like a muscle. It gets stronger the more you train it. Both perspectives agree on one thing. The more you indulge in instant gratification, the weaker your self-control becomes. And this brings us to one of the biggest traps of our time. 2. The dopamine trap. How Shaitan uses science against you. Dopamine is the brain chemical that makes you feel pleasure. Every time you check your phone, watch mindless content, or engage in sinful habits, you get a dopamine hit. And here's the problem. Over time, your brain gets addicted to easy pleasure. You scroll for hours, but struggle to read even one page of the Quran. You binge-watch videos, but find it hard to focus in Salah. You seek constant entertainment, yet feel empty inside. Why? Because Shaitan and the modern world have hijacked your dopamine. The Prophet Saul warned us, the strong person is not the one who can wrestle others, but the one who can control himself when he is angry. Bukhari and Muslim. True strength is self-control. And right now, most people are weak because their desires control them. So how do we take back control? 3. The secret to strength. Delayed gratification and Islam psychologists ran a famous study called the marshmallow experiment. They put children in a room and gave them one marshmallow. They were told, if you eat it now, that's all you get. If you wait 15 minutes, you'll get 2. Years later, researchers followed up with these kids. The ones who resisted temptation. They became more successful in life, had better self-discipline, and achieved more. And this is exactly what Islam teaches. The whole concept of Jannah versus Dunya is a test of delayed gratification. Allah says, but you prefer the worldly life, while the hereafter is better and more enduring. Surah Al-A'la 87:16-17. Islam trains you to sacrifice short-term pleasure for eternal reward. Salah, waking up for Fajr instead of sleeping in. Fasting, controlling food, drink, and desires for the sake of Allah. Lowering your gaze, resisting haram temptations in exchange for Allah's pleasure. These acts rewire your brain to embrace discipline. 4th, practical steps. How to build self-control, Islam plus science. Now let's make this practical. Step 1, train your willpower like a muscle. Start small, pray on time, wake up early, limit social media. Every time you resist temptation, you strengthen your willpower. Hadith. The most beloved deeds to Allah are those that are consistent, even if they are small. Bukhari and Muslim. Step 2. Break free from dopamine addiction. Reduce screen time. Replace mindless scrolling with Qur'an and dhikr. Fast regularly. It resets your dopamine levels naturally. Step 3. Master your environment. The man who killed 100 people was forgiven because he left his sinful surroundings. You must distance yourself from triggers that weaken your self-control. Step 4. Have a long-term vision. Jannah mindset. Remind yourself daily, what am I working towards? Write down your goals, worldly and spiritual, and review them often. Keep the pleasure of Allah greater than the pleasure of sin. The final reminder, your struggle, your reward. The Prophet, Sallallahu, said, "Whoever strives to remain patient, Allah will grant him patience. No one is given a gift better and more comprehensive than patience." Bukhari and Muslim. Self-control is not easy, but every time you resist temptation, every time you fight your desires, you are earning your place in Jannah. Remember, this life is just a test, and those who master self-control, they don't just succeed in dunya, they succeed forever. Now, I want you to take action. Drop a comment. What's one thing you struggle with when it comes to self-control? Like and share if this helped you. And if you haven't already, subscribe for more Islamic self-improvement content. May Allah grant us the strength to control our desires and strive for His pleasure. Ameen.